As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brother, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brother, let's go down, down to the river to pray. Down to the river to pray. Oh Lord, listen to your children praying. Oh Lord, send your spirit in this place. Oh Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Something's gonna happen like the world has never known when the people of the Lord get down to pray. The door's gonna swing open and the walls come a-tumbling down when the people of the Lord get down to pray. Oh, children, let's go down, come on down. Oh, children, let's go down, down to the river to pray, 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 to pray, Lord. Listen to your children praying. Oh, Lord, send your spirit in this place. Oh, Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. I went down to the river to pray. I went down to the river to pray. I went down to the river to pray. To the river to pray.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your gifts. No disappointment. I remember my first, not calendar month, but first month of being here. I don't know how many of y'all were there this time, but it was amazing, last time, should I say, and just to have you here again, so thank you. And yes, for those of you who are not here because they decided to skip out and be lazy, you give them crap when you see them, okay? Be like, oh my gosh, that was the most life-changing experience, and we kicked butt, and like people wanted our autographs, started like throwing things at us, like, yeah, just it went crazy. So tell them that story, I'll vouch for it, and you know, it'll be great. But thank you for sharing your gifts. Please come back again. Dina, thank you for inviting them. It's always a pleasure. All right. So how many times do you try, when you all switch seats, I just want you to know it is not funny, okay? Just so you know, I have like a moment where this is just me expressing my thoughts. I look over, I'm like, hey, you don't belong back there, you two. Get back in your spot. Breaking my flow, guys. So how many times do you try to define who you are with a label or a title? How many times do people ask you something and you try to describe who you are with simply feelings and emotions that have arisen in the moment? Or perhaps you're now defining yourself in your own mind with past experiences, with failures. Or maybe you're doing that thing of defining who you are with a broken record that plays the same song over and over again. And the lyrics may not necessarily hold any truth, perhaps they never have, but it's how you're defining yourself. You know, the thing is, feelings and emotions, labels and titles, accolades, failures, past experiences, broken records, they actually don't tell us who we are. And I, too, am guilty of going through those things and thinking, well, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because the sum of who I am is everything that I've been through. The sum of who I am are the different labels that I place on myself. I am mother. I am wife. I am daughter. I am pastor. I am a member of the community. You know, I've graduated with a master's degree. Oh, look at all these things. This is who I am. And so then what happens on a bad day? I am beep, beep, beep. What happens on those sad days? I am worthless. I am a failure. I am never going to get it together. So these things do not define who we are. I am not the broken little girl that experienced these things in my childhood, nor am I the person who reached all these successes. These are all great things, but they are not who you are. And so I want to invite you today to hear a classic story, and I'm going to do something a little different. I'm actually going to go through the traditional biblical interpretation of some of this. And then we'll get on my carpet ride and fly around and do those sort of things. But we'll start there. And so we're going to Exodus today, and we have Moses. And Moses has escaped on his own, is now married. He is the son-in-law of Jethro. He's living the quiet life because once he escaped Pharaoh, so we're jumping ahead here. He escaped. He was accused of murder, and he's just been passing his time basically shepherding flocks for his father-in-law. So Moses was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the west end of the wilderness and came to the mountain of God, Horeb. The angel of God appeared to him in flames of fire, blazing out of the middle of a bush. He looked. The bush was blazing away, but it didn't burn up. Moses said, "What's going on here? I can't believe this. Amazing. Why doesn't this bush burn up?" God saw that he had stopped to look, and God called to him from out of the bush, "Moses, Moses." He said, "Yes, I'm right here." God said, "Don't come any closer. Remove your sandals from your feet. You're standing on holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face, afraid to look at God. God said, "I've taken a good long look at the affliction of my people in Egypt. I've heard their cries for deliverance from their slave masters. I know all about their pain, and now I have come down to help them. Pry them loose from the grip of Egypt and get them out of that country and bring them to a good land with wide open spaces, a land lush with milk and honey, the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The Israelites' cry for help has come to me, and I've seen for myself how cruelly they're being treated by the Egyptians. It's time for you to go back. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the people of Israel, out of Egypt." Moses answered God, "But why me? What makes you think that I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead the children of Israel out of Egypt?" "I'll be with you," God said, "and this will be the proof that I am the one who sent you. When you have brought my people out of Egypt, you will worship God right here at this very mountain." Then Moses said to God, "Suppose I go to the people of Israel and I tell them, 'The God of your fathers sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' What do I tell them?" Here's the part to hold on to. God said to Moses, "I am who I am. Tell the people of Israel that I am sent me to you." And so when we look at that story, we'll just go through some of the things that pop up there. So there is Moses minding his own business, tending sheep, and he's caught off guard by a bush that is burning but not being consumed. I think any of us would have been like, "What the?" And we would have gone over there. Hopefully we do that very gracefully. And to then be called to the bush by a voice inside of it, I'm sure Moses is just flipped upside down right now. And there is that call. And in this moment, as he goes there, God right away reveals who he is. he right away reveals that I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And from there, God gives Moses a call. And in that call, he tells him, you are going to go back. So where you just were guilty of murdering someone, where you have been on the run for, where you haven't been for years, now we're going to send you back in your identity, not as an Egyptian, because Moses grew up with that identity of being an Egyptian from when he was drawn from the water. He's saying, no, you're going to go back as one empowered by me, and you're going to set the people free. And Moses does the thing that I think we're all guilty of doing when something comes before us that is challenging, that is scary, that is new and fresh, even though we may be intrigued by the curiosity, by the burning bush, the flame, and looking at that, wow, what is this opportunity being brought before me? But then when we hear the answer, this opportunity is an opportunity for you. It's time for you to put on your big boy and your big girl pants. It's time for you to go out there and show the world who you are. And no worries, Moses, I am going with you. And Moses goes on, I cut the story short, but Moses goes on to make all these excuses as to why he can't do it. It reminds me of Gideon. The story of Gideon is always so funny to me because God calls on Gideon and he says, well, prove it to me this way. Oh, wait, prove it to me this way. Oh, wait, prove it to me this way. And no one in here ever does that. No one ever in here has a call from God and questions it. No one ever tries to find the 10 reasons why they disqualify themselves. No one ever says, hey, could you send someone else in my place? Everyone in this church, I could tell by all the people sitting in the pews, there's so many of us, we all step up to the call and say, what do you need me to do next, God? How can I serve God? How can I turn inward and tap into that Christ and do what you call me to do? So we can't relate to Moses in this story. But Moses, he comes up with a long list of excuses, and eventually God says, yo, I'm sending your brother with you. He's going to talk for you since you don't believe that you can do it. I'm giving you this magical staff. You're going to do a bunch of magic parlor tricks. It's all going to be phenomenal. And the reason you're going to know that I am God is because in the end, when this is all over, you're going to be celebrating. You're going to be praising me and worshiping me because I'm going to show you this is how it's done. I am God. And that is the traditional, worded by Gina, telling of the story of Moses. It's an opportunity that we get drawn into, whether it's a burning bush, whether it's hearing of a new ministry, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's a new job promotion. There's something where the Spirit starts moving, and we get lured into it, and we get really up close, and we recognize, wow, this is something exceptional and amazing. I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden we say, maybe not. Maybe not this time. And I want to know why. Why don't we step up when we hear the call? When week after week there's new opportunities, whether it's in the newsletter, whether we mention them up here, whether you hear them on your TV, whether you get them in the news, whether a friend calls you on the phone and says, hey, let's do this, whether it's your boss at work, whether it's your professors, whether whoever it is, day after day, moment after moment, we have these opportunities, and they're glowing and they're bright, and for whatever reason, we stop and we forget who we are. We second guess ourselves. We figure out ways to disqualify ourselves. And we stop. And we don't have the voice, actually we do, but we tell ourselves a story that we don't have the voice of God sitting there in a burning bush saying, you're going to go do this, I'm going to be with you, you're going to kick butt, and then we're going to celebrate at the end. So we find something else to do. And I believe that is the traditional story of Moses, and that is how we can apply it to our lives, how we can recognize how we tie to it. But now I want to take you in a different direction. We're still going to stick with the same story, but I want to walk you through that story again. And I want to ask that you we all look at things through different lenses. Whether you're wearing glasses or not, we all have our lenses. And a lot of time we're very comfortable in the lenses that we've been wearing every day since who knows when. Maybe you've changed them out a couple of times, but for the most part, we like the comfort zone. We like the sandbox that we always play in, so we put the same lenses on day after day. Well, I think my job here is saying, hey, just for a moment, I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but I'm going to ask you to switch out for a new pair of lenses of discovery and openness, and just listen for a moment. Allow the Spirit to speak to you and see how this can move you in understanding who you are. That is the big question. Who are you? As there are opportunities out there, who are you? And so here we go. Back to the beginning of the story. There is Moses, and he's lured in by this phenomenal spiritual thing. He's lured in by this divine, unexplainable phenomenon in front of him. And how often does that happen to us in life? We get lured in and we see something. There's something moving in us with the Spirit, and we're curious. And once we feel that curiosity, when we pause and we actually give attention and ask the question, Spirit, what are you doing here? When we turn inward and say, what is within me that's coming to the surface? How is this going to serve me, and how am I going to use this to serve others? When we pause for just a moment and ask that question, who am I in this time? What is taking place before me? What is this opportunity at hand? It is in that moment where the I am within you is going to reveal itself. First of all, who are you? You are in the process of becoming. You are not fixed. You are not permanent. You are in a space where your conscious awareness and your physical body are constantly changing. And as soon as you can say, I and the Father are one, and you can fully accept it, that you and the Father, you and the Source, you and the Creator, you and God Almighty, just insert whatever name you have there. When you can accept that you and the Almighty, the all-encompassing, the universe are one, it is then in that space where you are going to begin to express God in everything you do, everything you say, everything you think, everything you feel. And it's a lifelong journey. It's not something that just happens tomorrow. I bet we have many Jesuses in here. And so if you turned inward and really, really focus, you can tap into it for a minute, maybe an hour, maybe a full day. But we are in this educational sandbox called life, called the world. So we're constantly being challenged, but things are not being done to us. They're being done for us. See, you are in the process of becoming. When you look at all of the things that have happened in your life, recognize that your conscious awareness continues to expand. These things that are taking place, whether they're good, bad, or ugly, whatever label you want to give them, you're the one giving them that label. Everything is neutral until you slap meaning to it. And so I had a little bit of a rough week. I was glad to get my voice back, but there were some new emotions that I wasn't used to. There's some changes in my household, which I'm super thankful for, but there's a lot of new unknowns. But these things are not happening to me. On the worst day of the week, I don't wake up and say, gosh, why is all this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Ugh. No, these things are happening for me. For my expansion, for my discovery, for coming to a place of higher Christ consciousness. See, the purpose of our existence is to express God in all that we say and do and think. And how do you do that? How do you get to a place of being that constant expression? A big phrase in my life lately has been bridging the sacred and the secular. That is what I am trying to do with my life. I'm going into these spaces, I'm going on these spiritual journeys and coming back saying, now that I've been in the sacred, how can I continue to carry that in the secular? How can I look at people where I want to pass judgment and instead say, well, hello, Christ? How can I stub my toe on that coffee table I always tell you guys and say, oh, thank you, coffee table. I needed that toe stubbing today. How can someone cut me off on the road and instead of saying, hey, I say, hi, this way, right? How can I keep the sacred with me all the time? Well, it's in discovering who I am. You see, the doorway into that realm where you get to be at one with the Father is a place that I have a hard time going to, but I'm getting better at it, and that is in the silence. When you are in the silence as a human being, we are constantly dealing with noises and distractions, other things getting in our way, things jumping onto our schedule that we didn't even put on there. We check off things on the to-do list and look, flip it over, there's another to-do list on the other side. Everyone is telling you how to think, how to feel, how to dress, how to look. You are this much if you've done this much, and you're that much if you've done that much. But in the silence, it's different. Because in the silence, you get to take a break and you get to get energized by the Spirit. Your existence is always completely surrounded by so many other things. So in the silence, you get to be there in the oneness, in the allness, in the true discovery. And when you can spend that time in the silence on a regular basis, recognizing who you are, I guarantee you that bridge I'm talking about with the sacred and the secular, it becomes smaller and smaller. And it eventually will vanish because you'll be able to walk day in and day out in the presence of Christ. It's a beautiful place. I hope I make it there in this incarnation, but I'm not sure. But it's a beautiful place to be, just recognizing in every moment that your individuality, that who you are, what you're made of, is in the likeness of God. And this is where I will challenge you. A lot of people hear that we're created in the likeness of God, and they think all physical. They make God something physical. They make God a him, the Father. I know this one might ruffle some feathers, so let's put them back in place. It's okay. But for those of you who are open here, there's God the Mother, God the Father, what? God the giraffe, God the elephant, God the ocean, God the pews. God is everywhere, in everything, in everyone. And to try to sum up God as a he, and I still do it a lot because it's part of the way I was brought up, to try to sum God up in a he is a disservice to how amazing God is. It's not even about gender. It's not even about parental roles. It's not even about all these little things. It's about the most awesome source of being that we are a part of. It's about the essence of love and true divinity that we have been birthed from. It's a sunlight, and we are the beams coming down. It's an ocean, and we are the drops. We are the waves. And so in that space, when you can really identify your oneness, who you are in God, I'll tell you what, when you can find your individuality in the oneness, your own identity, you will truly become comfortable with yourself. You will truly reach that place where no one can build you up with flattery or tear you down with insults, where how your day goes is not going to be based on who you encountered. You know, I had a moment yesterday morning. Let's get a little vulnerable here. I was taking a bath, and I was having a conversation with a friend, and she was asking me, what are my love languages? And I had to stop. The 5 love languages, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with them, but there is words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, gifts, and one more. Obviously, that one's not mine because I don't remember it. But the point is, when she asked me that question, I said, well, quality time. And then as I went to say the other one, I broke down crying. And I said, words of affirmation. And she asked me, why? I try to keep talking as I do, and she stopped me and she said, why? Why did you break down in this moment? And it is because when I find myself needing words of affirmation from outside sources to tell me who I am, I recognize that I am not in that oneness. When I find myself, here you guys, it is going to be a vulnerable morning, going through the month of October and wondering, where the heck is Pastor Appreciation? What is going on here? I find that I've disconnected from the trueness, the oneness, and the allness of who I am. When I find that if my kids are busy doing other things and don't want to spend time with me, and then I'm like, well, you guys are all busy and nobody wants to do anything with me. Again, I have disconnected because I don't need external affirmation. I don't need external labels. As a matter of fact, need is just a perception. We have everything within us. And so when you discover the truth of who you are, you discover the individuality that comes from that awesome oneness that you have, then you can embrace your I am. And so we'll move a little further in the story to where Moses is questioning God. And he's questioning, who do I say sent me? Because this is a big task. You're telling me to go to Pharaoh, who frankly wants me dead, who was like a father figure to me, and now I'm outcasted. You want me to go to him and tell him, hey, all of those people, those slaves of yours that basically keep your ship going, that keep your household running, it's time for them to go. And so he says, who should I say sent me with this great news there, God, their burning bush entity? Who should I say gave me the courage to say such words? And that's where he tells him, I am who I am. And a lot of times you'll hear this in the traditional teaching. That is God revealing his name. That is God revealing his identity, his face, his source. But I'm going to challenge you to say, no, that is God revealing who you are. That is God revealing to you that within each and every person in this room, regardless of what you believe, there is a burning bush within you. There is an eternal flame. There is a substance within you that cannot be quenched. It's divine. It is the essence of your being. It is love, and it is who you are. The I am is within you. So in that moment, as God says, I am who I am, can you recognize that you are the I am? In that moment, as Moses was confused and not sure what to do with this, God was showing him that you have all you need. I am going to go with you because I am within you. How amazing is that? How amazing is it to know that when we truly stop and look at the burning bush, when we truly look inward and say, wow, that's what that is. That unquenchable fire that doesn't burn me, that doesn't destroy me, but empowers me and moves me, that is the I am, and that is what I am made up of. When you come to the place of recognizing that the I am is your individuality, that it is Christ in you, your life will change. And it's not blasphemous. It's not blasphemous to say, I am the Christ, I am the I am. It's exactly who he calls us to be. It is recognizing that the power of the I am is a Christ power. And it wasn't meant just to be something for Jesus and Jesus alone. I was on the phone with someone the other day, and they said, so let me get this right. Are you saying that Christ incarnated into Jesus? I said, that's exactly what I'm saying. Jesus was a human being, fully divine, fully human. And the Christ came and took residence in him, because the Christ is that source. You all are human beings, but you are divine human beings, fully divine, fully human, and the Christ is within you. Have you guys ever went through the day saying, man, I am amazing, I am healthy, I feel great? How does the day usually go? Today I am unstoppable. I am going to get this done. You know that song, nobody's going to break my stride, nobody's going to slow me down, right? You just get the feeling and you go for it. Thank you, Gina. I'm about to get you a microphone. Perfect. And then there's that moment where you wake up, oh, I am sick and tired. I am not looking forward to this. I'm going to be so bored at this. I am done. I can't take it anymore. I am over this. Well, great. Then that's exactly who you are as well. But I'm going to tell you, you are the Christ. And to be able to say, I am the Christ, to be able to hold on to that truth, to be able to live that out in everything you do, then you're claiming that knowing, you're claiming that owning, and it will start to resonate from you. As I stand here with you all this morning, I want to just throw some questions at you, and I'll wrap up with you. Is there anything about you that is perfect? Just hang on to that. Is there anything about you that is perfect? What is the object of your existence? What is the purpose of your existence? What is meant to you? What do you hear when you connect that idea that you are the I am? And I want you all this week, this is my challenge, is to go home and think about those questions. who are you? Is there anything about me that I consider to be perfect? What is the purpose and object of my existence? And what do I feel? What hits me? What do I hear? What resonates or doesn't resonate when Pastor Gina says that I am the I am? And I just want you to take that and toy with it. Because as we enter into this season of Thanksgiving, I hope that you all can recognize that you have a lot to be thankful for. But one of the greatest things to be thankful for is that realization that you are the expression of God. You are the I am. And when you allow that to embody you, like Moses, you're going to part the Red Sea. You're going to free the Israelites. You're going to see the face of God, and you are going to glow with all of that energy and love and fire. But don't be like Moses and continue to question it, continue to argue it. So then the promised land is there, and you're back here wishing you get to enter. The promised land is there for all of us because we are the I am. Please pray with me. Our divine source, our Father God, our Mother God, our beautiful universe, our co-creator, our lover, and our friend. We thank you. We thank you for all the abundance you have given us. We thank you for Jesus, the Christ, who showed us the way and who reminded us that we too can walk that way, that we too can transcend death into the eternal, that we too can be an ultimate expression of love, because that is who we are. We are the light. We are the joy. So God, we give you thanks, and we trust that the empowerment of Christ within us will help us to move mountains, to part seas, and to bring love to the places where love is not remembered. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.